Welcome to the channel where we will begin a new scenario, B2 Battle of the Atlantic, in our playthrough of Atlantic Chase. Now, we're going to get straight into this, and we can start with the background, namely, but look at all these ships. I'll be playing the British, and this is what I'll be starting with. Let's go ahead and get to the background here. Spring 1941. Britain is alone and wages a far-flung war, stretching her naval assets thin. The Kriegsmarine now has access to Norwegian and French ports, from which it will soon be able to sortie surface raiders targeting vulnerable convoys. The Battle of the Atlantic is approaching a critical phase. Now, I'll spare you the Winston Churchill speech.
We shall give 'em licks on the beaches, and like the landing grounds and that, film it on our mobiles, big time.
And move on to the objectives. And that is, your primary objective is to bring convoys into port unscathed. If the opportunity presents itself, sink enemy ships. We'll start with good weather. I'll have the initiative. No Germans on the map at the start. That will change probably very soon. The end is when I bring 3 convoys successfully into their destination ports. But we need to take a look here, is that 2 of the convoys are already on the map. As you can see, one of them is this one. It's a reinforcement. I'll have to use the reinforcement action to actually bring it in, and we'll see some of that in action. It comes out of New York, and it is we got a leader, Somerville, who has a +2 modifier special ability. Okay. Over up here, we have our main task force: Repulse, Rodney, Nelson, battlecruiser, battleships, and homeless thing. We got Tovey here. I got to look that up. I'm not sure what trajectory means. We'll find that out soon enough, because I'm sure we're going to use it. Here's a convoy. One has a battleship. I randomly rolled a dice here, and you can put it with either one. I randomly rolled the dice, and it ended up being on this one, on the inbound. And you can see where all these little cruiser task forces are starting. And here we have Pound selling England. Okay, sorry for that really dumb joke. All right. I think that's enough background. No. That's a couple things. Convoys, they don't get destroyed. I can choose whether to disperse them or not. That will affect my score, of course, if I do disperse them. And the other one is this rationing thing here. When the Germans make a weather check, if the total number of trajectory segments of the task force with convoys in them is 3 or less, the British lose a victory point. And the historical justification for this is convoy traffic could be disrupted easily, even by the mere threat of enemy battle cruisers and battleships. That disruption could have a lasting effect on Britain's home front and war effort. And actually reading that in the book, I don't have it here, the Hitler's U-boat war, where he talked about British were constantly like rearranging the schedules of convoys to go out, and this was, causing a backlog and shortages and things like that. But sorry, I gave you a view of nothing there. Let's go ahead and get started, I think. So, before I embark, I suppose I should take a thought of strategy here at the outset. 10 victory points is the top tier that I can get. And my main source of points is completing convoys, and that's 4 points each. So there's 3 of them, so that would be 12. If they're all non-dispersed. If they're dispersed, I'll only get 2 points each for them. And everything else subtracts points for me. I mean, hits, the rationing rule I told you about, bringing in that reinforcement. And what really stinks here is that if German ships are still at sea at the scenario end and not damaged, that's a -4 thump if it's battleships and battlecruisers. So, all right, well, there you have it. So I haven't really looked at the German table and how their stuff is going to come onto the board, because I was thinking about, well, maybe I should just bring in this reinforcement convoy, since I'm going to need to complete it anyway, because that's the only way the game's going to end. So I'm going to have to do it at some point. However, I'd like to see what the Germans are doing first. And since there's nothing, they're not doing absolutely anything, and we're just kind of sitting around, I think the only thing for me to do in this first thing is to do a pass and time-lapse one of these convoys. Now, I could use pounds all pass and do them both, but remember, we got that rationing thing that subtracts points for me, which I'm kind of inclined to just do one at a time for the moment. I think that's really what my first move... I mean, can I move these navies around somewhere useful? I don't think so. I mean, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is making a screen up there. Yeah, I think just time-lapsing is probably the thing I want to do. Okay, so we're going to go up here. It's good weather, so these are very slow, so this is going to be a crawl. But the inbound convoy here, I'm just going to pop 2 off like that. And so we pass to the Germans. And every time we do a pass and we're doing a weather check, we have to do that rationing thing. And that's just, obviously we're not anywhere close to that right now, but it's something I want to keep in my mind so I don't forget it, like so many things I do forget. Anyway, they check the weather. And this time we're going to only change the weather to bad if it's on a 6. If you saw my last series on the Operation Berlin, somehow I got it in my head that it was 5 or 6 that changed it to bad. Nope, it only changes it from bad to good that way. Sorry. We'll just pretend the weather was a little squirrely that time and it changed easier. Okay. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Just a quick look at that German action table here. And we just roll on that. It changes in, respectively, the number of task force that the Germans already have in play. And we're going to roll on this thing on the 0, because none are in play at the moment. But we have to add 1 to the die, because no convoy has completed yet. Okay. So we roll. 1 plus 1 would be a 2 on this chart. So 2 is an airstrike, but there is no target. And no target in good weather. It tells us to roll as if it were bad weather, where we have this little sub-chart we have to roll on, and we'll go ahead and do that. And it's a 6, and this is apply a C German action table result. If there are no German TFs in play, the Germans pass instead. Well, la-di-da. So the Germans are a little slow on the upkeep. They pass on to us. We take the initiative. We roll for weather. It does change to bad. Okay, that's an actual change to bad. It's an actual 6 there. So yeah, there goes our weather. Swap to bad. Okay. Now, I think we're just going to do the same pass we did. And now we're going to roll on the weather die here. And, oops, I smashed up my... Okay, there we go. 1. Okay. So, passes to the Germans again. Not much happening in these initial salvos. The weather does change back to good, because that's a 5 or a 6 is how that changes. Okay, so we're back to good weather. Nothing much going on here. And we're rolling on the German table with a +1 again. Oh, not again. Come on. All right. And, oh, well, wait a minute. It might be different, though, because we do roll on this sub-chart. Okay, I thought I was going to just pass again. That would be annoying. No, we're going to roll again. And that's a 4. Okay, that's different. That's different. We're going to add a German air base is what we're going to do. And we roll to see where that goes. And it is going to go. Isn't this going to be interesting? Let's see. Not there, but here. How's there an airbase there? I don't know. I might have to ask about that. And after placing this airbase marker, the Germans pass again. So, back to me, checking the weather. 5, it stays good. Yeah, I got that rule in my head now. Thank you very much. And, well, honestly, we're just going to pass again. Get this convoy into home. I'm almost at 6 now. I am at 6. Next turn, we're going to try to complete that. All right, so it's to the Germans. Check for weather. Stays good. Now, +1 again. 5. Okay, something different. 6 plus is XU. What is XU? We're going to create a new unidentified task force in Kiel. There we go. Right there. So this task force is going to try to intercept one of these convoys. And I would think it would go after this one. And of course, our rules are to avoid getting intel markers if possible. Frankly, and avoid air range and things like that. And since it seems to be multi-layered like that, I think the bot is pretty much telling us we want to go do a Denmark straight run to get into the Atlantic. So that's what I'm going to do. So let's get that set up. There it is. And as you can see, we could not completely avoid getting an intel marker. I've got them pretty screened off in the setup here. So they're going to do a Navy search at the worst chart possible. And of course, the British will get a chance to interrupt. A 9 on the interrupt is not a good sign. Yeah, that is the slip. So, because of the slip, this is actually the most powerful thing you can roll on the interruption in my mind. Well, initiative changed, But basically, when I get the slip result, I get choice. One, I can take an evasive maneuvers marker for this task force. Or I can perform an unexpected signals action on his intel marker right there and bring him down to a station. And after I do that, nobody time lapses because the whole action is canceled. And then we vie for the initiative. So I think that's what's going to happen is I'm going to go ahead and signals action that guy. So we're going to remove all these trajectories like so. And that is the result. Remember that intel markers never go on a station, so that intel marker is gone away now when you do the signals action. Now, I vie for the initiative with the Germans, and no modifiers. And I'm going to win that. Boy, well, that went very well for me. Okay, so I have the initiative again. Now we're going to check for weather. Stays good. Barely. Okay, what do I want to do? I can take a stab at this ship, find a navy up there, but the simple fact is I have a convoy in range of completion. It would be kind of silly not to do it. Oh, let's go ahead and do that. The Germans, of course, the enemy had something to say about that. They're going to try to seize the initiative from me. And they do not. This convoy completes. That was also the convoy with the battleship in it, so it'd been interesting to see if they actually encountered it. But it's off, and I'm going to go ahead and log that so we can keep the score going here. And now, what I'd like to do is I have to remember I still have that rationing rule I have to contend with. So I think this is actually a good time to try to bring in the new convoy, since I need 3 of them in this thing. So, now convoy is a straight up 50-50 roll, no modifiers. So, where is that thing? 2 to 6 is a fail. 7 to 12 is a success. 10, yes. So we're just doing very well so far. New York reinforcement. And this is, just for a refresher, the leader, Somerville, gets a +2 on any of his rolls, except for, it can't be initiative rolls, by the way, or weather change or anything like that, but every other kind of action roll, you get a plus, you can do a +2 on it. Convoy, of course, very slow, and the slow Ramirez, I don't know how to pronounce that, but they are coming out of New York. And let's go ahead and just Put that right. Where is New York? Hello. Oh, right on the edge of the map there. Right on the edge of the map over here. I keep the initiative, and we might as well go ahead and make our trajectory for that one. So I'm going to end it here while I still have the initiative, because I have a number of possibilities here, and I want to mull it over, perhaps even leave it open to some suggestions for anyone who wants to comment. One of my options is to, just start bringing this convoy in. That's a solid move. I may actually want to start on this one because we do have an airbase here that could threaten an airstrike here. And my other option, of course, and it's the very tempting one, and it's certainly the most dramatic one, of course, is that I can try to bring this German task force to battle. If I did, I would most certainly bring this one up and trajectory in there for an engage action, because remember, I have Tovey, and his power is, if you didn't know, it's called a trajectory power. It basically means I get to roll two dice and either subtract that number from my trajectory or add it, depending on my whims. And the nice thing about it is I can look at it first, see what the roll is, and decide whether I want to use it or not. And if I decide not to, I can just use Tovey again another time. That's where I'm going to end it. For a little while, let me think on that. Please chime in if you have any suggestions. But until then, thanks for watching.